Welcome to the Women Empowerment Podcast, where we firmly believe we rise by lifting others. The Women Empowerment Podcast is a platform for women to share their personal stories and experiences, trials and triumphs, to have their voices heard, to promote, inspire, and motivate other women. We want to share the journey of women leaders and entrepreneurs from all industries and sectors who've made an outstanding impact in our society, all while empowering others to do the same. The Women Empowerment Awards Gala is being held on September 13th, 2024. Enjoy an evening with over 250 highly influential, inspiring individuals. Visit our website, www.woea.ca, for more information. Let's celebrate women empowerment together. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome, everybody, to the Women Empowerment Podcast. I am super excited because I have a very special guest with me. She is known as the Braille Fashion Designer, Aille Jovanovic, and she is here. She first began Braille fashion in as a research project in university, and then has just branched off from there and took off with flying colors. Okay, she has built a strong relationships both in the local and visually impaired communities, and she's here with us to give us the full scoop on her journey. So let's welcome Aille. Thank you so much for joining me, Aille. How's everything going? You're a busy woman. You're a busy woman.
Everything's great. Yes, definitely very busy with how well the business has been doing, but grateful to be here at the same time. So thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So talk to us about this passion that you have for Aille and where it all started.
Yeah, so my company is called Aille Design. We're a Braille fashion company. That means that everything that we make has fully legible Braille on it in the form of beadwork, and we work directly with the blind community to design and make everything. But most importantly, with all those pieces, is that they're fashion first. So yes, all of the Braille is fully legible. We work with the community, but with the community, it was really important to them that these pieces be as fashionable as possible so they can be loved and worn by anyone. So really, it all comes down to that incredible love for fashion that I've had ever since I was little. You know, playing dress up in my mom's closet, wearing her high heels, playing with feathers. I was always drawn to the extravagant feathers and beads and whatnot. So naturally, I would grow up to kind of keep doing that and play dress up on a natural everyday basis. So yeah, everything that we do today involves those beads. So it's kind of come full circle in that sense.
That's awesome. And so what made you actually decide to do the Braille fashion?
That's a great question. So I went to university for fashion. I went to TMU. I was in their fashion communication program. And when I was in school, I started to have these classes about diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. And that's where I started to learn more about some of the different challenges within our industry. I,
Mm.
for the first time, really started to learn more about some of the underserved communities, especially when it comes to fashion, and disability was a large part of those conversations we were having in school. So by the time I was in my fourth year of classes, I knew for my final research, I really wanted to focus on disability inclusion and how I could use fashion to create social change and how I directly could be a part of that change. So I started kind of thinking about what that might be. I wasn't sure. Went out and did a ton of window shopping, one of the
Mhm.
things I love to do for inspiration. And I came across this really beautiful beaded jacket. And I kind of just had this aha moment where I realized how similar in size small beads are to the size of Braille. Kind of just questioned, why couldn't this beautiful jacket have a purpose beyond its aesthetic value? I mean, what if we moved all those beads ever so slightly so they could actually be phrases in Braille? Maybe those phrases could describe what the garment was, and whatever it was, ultimately provide empowerment for the person who's wearing it and create conversation and build awareness. So had that idea right there while window shopping, went home, did research, nothing remotely close existed, and started working with local blind women to see if this was something of interest and trying to talk about their challenges with fashion and see if this could be something to help create that change.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. I love that. So while working with them now, you've decided to bring both worlds together. What was their reaction like when you were working with these blind ladies? What were they saying?
So, kind of to the very first part that I was mentioning, it was that love for fashion. So, oftentimes there's this big misconception that if you're blind or visually impaired, that you don't like fashion or you don't care what you look like because you can't necessarily see what you look like.
Yes,
So, we both know that that couldn't be further from the truth. But
right.
unfortunately, that's a misconception that lives with us today. And so, we really wanted to work hard with the women to kind of find ways to challenge that misconception. And so making sure that these pieces were so beautiful that anyone would want to wear them was very important. And so that's kind of been an ongoing effort with the design of all of our pieces, is making sure that they are beautiful. You know, we use beadwork for all of the braille. We actually use Swarovski pearls. So there's all of these hidden levels of luxury and desire and beauty that are built into the designs of these pieces. And those are all words that aren't typically used when describing disability. So we really want to be able to change that narrative and the overall experience of fashion and disability, because there's no reason that they can't coexist. So,
100%.
so further with that, we work with the blind community to create these pieces, but in what we call a co-design process, we also bring in other people who are really heavily rooted within the fashion industry. So other designers or stylists or models, et cetera, anyone who's really interested in this space, because again, we want to make sure that these are beautiful pieces that can be worn and appeal by everyone. And in order to do that, you have to include everyone in that process.
That is right. I love that. I love it so much. So tell me about your first piece because it must have been amazing to put it all together and then actually to see it come to life and have somebody wear it. Like, talk to us about the whole thing. Like, I want to know.
So the very first piece we ever created was that first research prototype, and it was a white collared shirt with black beads on it.
Mm.
And the purpose of that particular piece was to test out some of the different functionality aspects of it. So we were testing different bead sizes, different bead placements. We had some of the braille beadwork on the collar as well as on the front of the shirt. So we could know, does it need to have a thicker fabric because the collar would have that backing versus something more flimsy on the front of the shirt, and just kind of trying to understand what the legibility aspect of was it. Because
Mhm.
though fashion was ultimately where it had to end up, we wouldn't have a brand and a strong product offering if the braille first wasn't legible. So that's
Right.
where it all started. There were countless hours of me in my dorm room sewing bead by bead with needle and thread. I very quickly learned that was not sustainable or legible, so I had to switch my methods. But now we use a stenciled process with the Swarovski pearls that are half dome, so there's no wiggle movement. And now they're completely legible, machine washable. You can easily care for them and love them. But I can't tell you enough, Ellie. The very first piece that I made that had legible braille on it,
Mhm.
immediately started crying. It was this denim jacket that we created, and it was tested by a group of women that had been working with us since day one. So they had already gone through several iterations that weren't quite there. So
Mhm.
to have them read something with such ease was really telling that we were onto something, that we could truly create change.
Right? And then to see them put that jacket on and just wear it, read it, and probably feel amazing in it.
Feeling is completely unmatched. It's the reason we do what we do. That
Yeah.
experience is not necessarily common amongst these types of communities in fashion. So every time that we can bring someone that experience and bring them that experience as genuinely and authentically as possible makes it that much more special. Not only do you get to wear something that you can physically read because of the braille and feel great about, but you can know that you were a part of that process of creating that piece.
So cool. So talk to us about what diversity, what inclusion, like what does that actually mean to you?
I love that question. So, when it comes to diversity, inclusion, and accessibility, oftentimes those conversations don't typically include the disability community. So, when they are brought up, I love to use it as a platform to be able to mention that disability is just as important. And it's the one minority that anybody can join at any time in their life. So, I think it's incredibly important that they're included in the conversation, and truly, it just means really wanting equality for all and truly wanting the best for everyone, that there's nothing that should limit you from any experience. If you're given the proper accommodations, anyone can thrive.
there must be so many highs that you have seen on your journey. But talk to us a bit about, designing other pieces and other different milestones that you've reached during this journey. And also, this is a loaded question, but where did you come up with the name I and the spelling as well?
We'll start with that one first. So that's a common question we get. So the name of the company is Aille Design. It's pronounced I, but it's spelled Aille. And
Mhm.
it actually comes from the French verb aller, which means to move or to go forward. So we're saying that inclusivity is the direction that fashion needs to move forward into.
Yeah.
And then it also lends itself well to our mission, given the way that it's pronounced. So I, like the physical I, really kind of relates to the fact that we're working with tactile braille and the visually impaired community, but
Mhm.
also the personal sense of the word I, because everything that we create is designed to have increased empowerment and independence. And then if you look at our actual logo, you'll notice we put 2 dots over the character I, and
Mhm.
that's actually the Braille character for the letter I. So we've got so many things hidden in there. So I love that you asked about it.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And I was looking at that when I was looking it up and I'm like, this is different. And I seen how, that it's pronounced obviously I, but the spelling is not I. So I was like, I gotta figure that one out. Let me ask her about that one there. But yeah, tell us about some of the different, milestones you've reached, the stepping stones that you guys have taken to make these pieces, because I just find it so phenomenal, that you guys are on this journey and you continue to go on, and it's amazing to me. So talk to us a bit more about like the different pieces that you guys have created. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Everything has been just so well received, and it truly is kind of the authenticity of our brand that I think has lent itself so well to us kind of getting these different milestones, especially in this past year. I mean, we started 2024 creating pieces for the NBA G League. They reached out to us, and we put Braille on the game day jerseys. They wore them on court for a televised game. The month after, we were brought backstage for a concert for Andrea Bocelli because we were commissioned to create a Braille bag for him.
Wow.
So we started 2024 off very strong, which was incredible. But most recently, which I'm so excited about, and I think has probably been the biggest milestone of the Aille Design brand so far, is that we just recently launched a global campaign and Braille fashion collection with Barbie and Mattel. Yes, I know. It doesn't feel real still. So many emotions, so many happy tears. But again, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for how supportive the community has been. I mean,
Mhm.
we are the first people to really do anything like this. And so it's kind of garnered that much more attention and that much more promotion because people see our product and they say, wow, how did this not exist before? This just makes
Right.
sense. And they're that much more eager to promote it because, again, this community has been so overlooked. So now is the time.
Now is the time. And that is so amazing about Barbie. So talk to us more about Barbie. Where can we find our Barbies? Because, especially as women growing up, we
Yeah.
loved Barbie. We loved playing with Barbie. It was super important to have all of her clothes, getting other outfits. So talk to us about this Barbie.
Of course. So we launched the full Braille fashion collection with Barbie and Mattel. And alongside that collection, Mattel also launched their first ever blind Barbie. So she's got a cute purple ruffled skirt, which is really important because it has that tactile kind of feel. So even if you can't see or see fully, you can kind of imagine what Barbie's outfit is like because it is textured.
Mm.
And what's really cool about this Barbie as well is that she comes with a white cane. And so it was really powerful for the campaign that we created alongside Barbie for the Braille fashion collection portion of it. We really wanted to focus specifically on the stories of 3 blind women who were the models for this campaign. And 2 of those women use white canes as well. So for then the Barbie to come out, which they didn't know about during the photo shoot, which made it extra special. They had no idea what was coming. To be able to have this beautiful representation and kind of seeing their younger selves with the three models, we had a girl who was 13. Her name is Lana. We had a girl in her 20s. Her name is Chelsea, and a woman who is 41. Her name is Mara. So we really wanted to have these three different generations of women and what blindness and fashion really meant to them in that experience. And ultimately, the goal of the campaign was having these women express how they wish to be seen within the fashion industry, and really being able to give them that platform to shine and tell the world whatever it was that they wanted to say. So all of those pieces on the collection, those can be purchased at our website, idesign.com, and you can learn more about the collaboration there and kind of get the inside stories of the three different models and what their experiences were like. But it was so powerful. Before they even knew that there was going to be a blind Barbie released, they mentioned how impactful it would be to them and their younger selves had they grown up with that type of representation. So it just truly goes to show how important the entire collaboration and collection as a whole really is, and how impactful it is.
Definitely. And you mentioned something earlier. It's almost like it wasn't thought of before. Like nobody thought of this, or perhaps somebody did, but nothing was done with it. But you know what I mean? Like has it taken us so long to include them in this? And I mean, there's so many different things, I guess maybe that could have been going. I don't know, but like for this time, it definitely is the time to have everything come out and to have it all inclusive as well. It's so important.
Thank
It
you.
really
And
is, you
yeah,
know?
I mean, maybe it hasn't happened before, but the most important thing is that it's happening now.
Yes.
So there's a quote that I love. I might mispronounce what it is now that I'm thinking about it, but the best day to plant a tree was yesterday. The next best day is today. So if you can't do something previously, you start doing it now. And there's always time for that. And I don't know, I just think it's really powerful. And it was really cool being able to involve the community in the creation of these pieces as well. So for example, I'm currently wearing one of the pieces from the collection. It's a pink shirt, Barbie pink, of course. And
Yep.
in plain white text, it reads, "This Barbie is," with an underline. And in that underline, we have Braille beadwork that reads inclusive. So this Barbie is inclusive. It comes in matching little girls and women's shirts. So you can have that kind of mommy and me moment, or for anyone who grew up loving Barbie and still wants to channel that in. But then also more iconic pieces, like we created a black and white chevron dress. So it pays homage to the original 1959 Barbie in her chevron bathing suit. But this one here is an asymmetrical slip dress, and between the different chevron lines, we have black braille beadwork that kind of tells the story and history of Barbie and the empowerment and inclusion that has kind of come over the years through the brand.
So amazing. And so talk to us a bit about growing up. What did fashion mean to you as a youth?
Fashion to me as a youth was really just about having fun and wearing as many things as once. I just recently turned 30, so I was recently going through my childhood photos, and the amount of accessories I was wearing, girl, I'm so proud to this day. And I love that I never got rid of that passion for accessorizing and feathers and all of the things. Fashion was really just always a strong outlet for me to show others who I am. And it's a way that I've always been able to feel really great and confident about myself. I am definitely a very visual person. I love fashion and art and design. And that was the easiest way to kind of show that part of myself. I know I have a distinct memory growing up where I put my own makeup on, but I did not use a bag of makeup. Instead, I used art supplies. So I definitely had Sharpie all over my face, drawing on my massive eyelashes. So yeah, this was always destined to be what I was doing.
Awesome. And then so making the decision to go into fashion design at school, how did you feel about that? Did you automatically know like 100% this is exactly what I want to do?
Yeah, so I knew quite early on that I wanted to have a life in fashion. I didn't
Yeah.
know what exactly that would be, but fashion has truly always been something I've been incredibly passionate about.
Mhm.
And it actually even resulted in the high school that I chose to go to. I was originally supposed to go to high school and have all my classes entirely in French. But there was a different high school that offered a sewing class in grade 11. And I knew that I wanted to go to TMU and go to school for fashion. So I was like, okay, We're switching, we're saying goodbye to all of the friends because we're really passionate about this and we need to learn how to sew if we wanted to get into this school. But what's really interesting too, so you mentioned fashion design. I actually didn't go into the fashion design program. I
Oh,
was in TMU's fashion communication program. So
ah,
I did learn how to sew and sketch and pattern draft, all of those things, but I was really on the side that was focused on branding and graphic design and communication and photography, which I think is so interesting now that I am a fashion designer, but in some ways is also really kind of special because Braille is a form of
I
communication.
was
So
just thinking that. I'm like, that links perfectly with your brand.
exactly. So people don't often realize that I didn't go to design school, but yeah, I think that's a really interesting fact.
Very cool. And so, of course, the Women Empowerment Awards is coming up. Talk to us about a bit what women empowerment means to you.
Of course. I mean, as you've probably realized by now, almost every single thing that we do is rooted in empowerment and helping others feel that empowerment. So I think it's incredible that these awards exist. You know, Claudia's phenomenal. I was absolutely shocked when I was nominated and became a finalist 3 years ago now. She's been a really wonderful mentor ever since. But really, just empowerment is really about encouraging others to believe in themselves and helping them be on that journey. And for us, really what we do is focusing on empowerment and especially in underserved communities. And that really does lend itself to women as well. So I'm so grateful that these awards exist and that it's an opportunity for us all to kind of chime in and support one another. It's really great.
Awesome. And so success is, it's personally defined because I feel like you ask one person what their idea of success is, they're going to say something different than maybe what you think. But talk to us about what your definition of success is.
So, since starting iDesign, my biggest goal was always building awareness and having that conversation and changing perspective. I mean, like I was saying, there's this big misconception that if you're blind, you don't care what you look like. And when I kind of came up with the idea for Braille fashion and spoke to my different fashion peers about it in school, they would kind of say things like, oh, that's interesting, but like, why or who really cares about that community? Like, that's not fashion. And so, for me, ever since that moment, success has been proving other people wrong and getting them to care about this mission.
Mm.
So, now, fast forward to 2024. People are so excited. They love what we're doing. We just released a global collaboration with Barbie.
Yep.
For me, success is all of those years of work of getting people to understand why this is indeed important and feeling like we are succeeding in changing that misconception that yes, if you have a disability, you can love fashion. You can love anything you want. You can do whatever you want. We can provide those accommodations and you can't let anyone else tell you what you can and cannot do. So success is every time we get an order from someone. Success is every time we get a photo that we're tagged in. I mean, just 10 minutes before this call, I got tagged in a photo of a little girl wearing her This Barbie is Inclusive shirt. I think she's maybe 5 years old. She's got the biggest smile. She has her white cane. That is absolutely success. That
Mm.
little girl is growing up knowing that her blindness is okay and it's something that she can be proud of and doesn't have to hide behind. So
Yes.
success is all of these things. Success is Andrea Bocelli being able to create a Braille bag for him. Success is Barbie reaching out. So success is everything and truly just feeling amazing about what we're doing and having the confidence to continue to go after it because this truly is still just the beginning of our story.
It is just the beginning. And I mean, you just said you turned 30. So you
Yeah.
are so young. You're still quite young and just I feel like there's nowhere else to go but upwards from here. So what do you guys have planned? Do you have anything in the works for Braille?
So always something in the works. Can't
Mhm.
tell you all of the details, but I
Right.
can tell you that there is a Barbie part 2 coming later this year. So this
Okay.
is still just the beginning of our amazing Barbie news. So you'll have to keep out for that. But
Mm.
truly with all of the success we've had with Barbie and some of those other B2B relationships earlier in this year, actually even at the end of last year, we had a phenomenal partnership with Amazon Corporate We created Braille pieces for their entire accessibility team for an internal conference. Our real goal is to continue reaching as many people as possible and being able to partner with brands and corporations with similar values so we can further spread that mission. Because ultimately, same thing from day one. People question why this was important, and I'm ready to let every single person know that it is.
100%. We're here for it. We are here for it. As you go on in life, you mentioned, even when you were in school, there were sometimes people that may have not seen the same vision as you did. So those are kind of like hurdles for us to get over, but you still persevered and you managed to push through. Talk to us a bit about what you do when those tough times come around or tough comments come around. How do you keep pushing and keep going?
That's a great question because I mean, it is difficult. Life as an entrepreneur is ever changing. You're wearing so many hats. Today, we're doing this podcast. Earlier this morning, I was fulfilling a lot of orders and doing production. So you're constantly doing something different. And that can be draining because not everything is going to be an amazing experience. But I think what's really important is to hold on to those moments of success that we were just talking about and having those be reminders that what you're doing is important and there are a lot of people counting on you and that you are truly making a difference in this world. And yeah, there's going to be a bad day, but tomorrow's going to be fantastic. So, I mean, with the Barbie collaboration, there we did some extensive interviews with all three of our blind models. And there are so many quotes that I've taken from there that I just keep replaying in my head. They're so impactful.
Yeah.
The amount of tears that have been shed, I was like, okay, we are actually changing lives. And I can't stop. It's okay. It's okay to have a bad day.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
really
important because
powerful. Yeah.
yeah, no, as an entrepreneur, as you mentioned, it is hard, juggling all the hats, but sticking to the task at hand and keeping the vision alive is important. And you guys are doing the thing. You guys are definitely doing it. You're successful, you're being impactful, and your work matters, so it's very, very important. So definitely, keep up the great work.
Thank you, Aille.
Um, what is one common myth about your profession that you kind of want to debunk?
I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, and it really is that misconception that if you're blind, that you don't care what you look like. So blindness is one of those disabilities that people just really don't know much about. They kind of think that you either see perfectly or you see all black. But there's actually a stat, I believe it's about 80% of people who are blind can actually see something. So most people don't live in complete darkness. But even still, no matter if you can or cannot see, everybody cares what they looks like.
Yeah.
What you look like ends up being a direct reflection of who you are as a person and the things that you like. So maybe the colors that you like. The first way that people identify who you are as a person. And also just when you look good, you also feel good. So even if you can't see what you look like you may not be walking around all day looking in a mirror, but if you like the outfit you have on, you know you're going to have a little bit more pep in your step. You're going to be dancing around. You're going to be smiling. It has a direct impact on who you are and what you're doing.
Yes.
Really just overall the misconceptions of blindness and what people can and cannot do. Because again, if you provide the correct accommodations, anyone can do anything. It's just a matter of taking time and listening to what someone may need and being willing to help them on that journey to get to where they need to go.
Yeah. And it's important that you did that by connecting with the community as well, because that's
Oh,
the
of
only
course.
way to be successful is connecting with those who are impacted, and making it matter for them. So
Yeah.
that's so important.
That's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I give anyone who's looking to start a business is really emphasizing the importance of the co-design process. So that really means that you're working directly with the community who you're looking to create these products or services for and learning from their lived experiences and understanding what they actually need and want in a product and never just assuming someone's needs. Everyone's experience is different and it's important to learn from them firsthand what they do want.
For sure. Well, I just want to thank you so much for this great conversation. I feel like I learned so much, and I'm sure anybody that watches the podcast is going to learn as well. And then we want to support. So let us know how we can get our Barbie t-shirt.
Of course, on the website, idesign.com, AILLE, and even just supporting us on Instagram. following us, liking, sharing, every little bit helps to spread that mission overall of more people learning about the importance of this.
Yeah. And so if you had one final word that you would like to give to empower any woman, anybody really that's listening to the podcast, what would you say?
I would just say go for it. Start. There's always going to be people who are doubting what you're doing. And the most important thing is that you believe in yourself. If
Mhm.
I hadn't pursued this back in 2015 when I first had the idea, and if I listened to others, this would have never happened. And my life would be incredibly different. And I do not want that. So truly, you have to be your biggest advocate. There are people that are going to say no to you, but if you believe in what you're doing, you're willing to work hard, go for it. Having said that, though, do be mindful of what other people are telling you because you do have to learn from others, but do believe in yourself as well.
All right. Well, you heard it from Alexa, guys. Go for it. Okay. And make sure you guys pick up your Barbie tea on i.com. All right.
So much,
Thank
Ellie.
you so much. You're welcome. And we'll see you soon at the awards. Okay.
Wonderful.